Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this evening's Facebook Live event with Lawson's Finest, with none other than Karen Lawson and myself, Sean Lawson. Thank you so much for joining us here. First item of order is to grab your beers for some cheers. We've got the latest beer release, our Super Session number 5. Super exciting for me and super tasty for you. Rolling out into distribution across our 9-state territory right now. This is the brand new release in our Super Session series, brewed with cashmere hops, a beautiful beer that we're going to tell you a little bit about, refresher on the Super Session story, and talk about our 13th anniversary tonight, right, Karen?
Yes, and I wanted to say welcome to everyone. Thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to join us. Cheers. This is such a special time to be sitting here with you. So cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
That cashmere.
That
I didn't know what to
cashmere is
expect, and
delicious.
it totally exceeded everything I thought it would be.
It is just such a nice addition to the Super Session series. So going back to the beginning of this creation of the series in 2015, a single hop IPA, brewed at 4.8% alcohol to be a session IPA, a beer that we wanted you to be able to have more than just one. And we also wanted to deliver the flavor impact of an American IPA. So layered in some specialty malts and enough body to give it that mouthfeel and impression that you're drinking an IPA, but the alcohol is only down at 4.8%. So if you don't have a beer yet and you would like to join us, go grab your beer. Crack it open, pour it up in a glass, and join us this evening. And another cheers to all of you out there.
And I'd love to talk about just the session series has really been such a interesting sensory experience, how different each single hop really comes forward. And I know for me, sometimes if I'm like fresh off a hike or a snowshoe and I'm thirsty and it goes down and that hop, the flavor can taste so different versus when you're eating and pairing it with food, that the flavors really are just so interesting how one day to the next they could be different, even with the same hop.
Yeah, that's a key part of the Super Session series that we wanted to really share with our fans. And it's really an educational piece as well, having one single hop. We feature it on the front of the can. The number 5 is with cashmere. As the name might suggest, it's kind of a softer hop. It's a little bit less bitter than the other hops in the series. It's got a beautiful impression both on the nose and on the flavor profile of some nice stone fruits, peach, and then melon, and also get a little bit of coconut in there.
Yeah, and I get a real floral on the tip of my tongue. I get a real floral experience.
My first description was, the sides of my tongue are tingling.
Yeah, yeah, really nice.
Yeah, a really beautiful beer. Thrilled to share it. It's out for the very first time in cans. To go all the way back to the beginning of the Super Session series will require a bit more of story, but just a reminder, a refresher on what we're going to cover over the next half an hour is we're going to talk to you about the Super Session number 5. We're going to share with you some really fun stories of our 13 years in business at Lawson's Finest. Oh, how far we've come. Pretty amazing. And it's not just a beer story, it's a love story. So we're going to share with you some fun photos of a scrapbook that our good friend Kimmy put together this past year for my 50th birthday, and the story of how Karen and I launched Lawson's Finest very briefly. And then we're going to close it out with a tasting of our Triple Play IPA, a new release that's only available here in Waitsfield, Vermont at our drive-through retail at our tap room. And we're going to be taking your questions as well.
Yes,
so
bring them.
Really encourage you to submit your questions using the comments section on Facebook. So if you have questions about any of the particular beers that we talked about this evening, about our company history, or really anything else Lawson's Finest, feel free to send those in. We'll take a pause about midway through the half hour to answer a few of your questions, and then we'll close it out with another Q&A session at the end. So
Sean,
go ahead, Karen.
I want to ask you a question because I know we get this a lot, is how we've released the super session numbers, not chronologically, but all over the board. And so that's based on your brewing schedule and the various hops that we've had access to, right?
Yeah, the initial launch of Super Session was a very small batch series that I brewed up in Warren, Vermont at the original brewery, the 7-barrel brewery. It started as a 1-barrel brewery, as some of our fans know. And when developing this beer, I went through about 11 different hops originally, brewed session number 1 through 11. And out of those 11 hops, picked our favorites and our fan favorites too. Wanted to see how people would respond, how fast each beer sold, what sort of feedback we got in the marketplace. And originally when we were selling our 22-ounce bottles at the Warren store and the farmer's market, we got some great feedback directly from customers. So out of that feedback, we picked number 2 as the first choice in the Super Session series.
Love that one.
And then we jumped around, not intentionally to confuse you, but because we wanted to put out our best foot forward with the Super Session series and pick those favorites out. So then we did number 8, which features Mosaic. Number 2 features Amarillo. And then came along number 7, which features Idaho 7 hops. And then came along number 6, which features Galaxy. Last year we released number 4 in cans for the first time. That features the Centennial hop. And then number 5 is the latest edition. And we have one more exciting addition to the Super Session series this year, and that's Comet. That'll be out later this year for the last quarter.
Number 3.
Number 3, one of the hip hop. One of the popular hip hops out there today. Another one of the C hops that we're a big fan of and that we put out in bottles over the last couple of years in a small batch release from the Warren Brewery. Really popular, great response from fans, and so we decided to launch that out into the cans and out into our 9-state distribution market, which covers what, for folks that don't know, all of the Northeast? What states, Karen?
Vermont, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, Maine, Massachusetts, and what am I missing?
New Jersey and PA.
Yes.
Maybe there was a repeat in there somewhere, or not, or maybe that's 9, but all over the Northeast, all of New England, New York, New Jersey, and PA. And thank you, all of our fans out there across the territory, for supporting us. As we mentioned at the last live event, we've got a few other specialty releases. You can go to our website, lawsonsfinest.com, to learn more about this year's releases and our brand calendar, and to get more information about any of the individual beers that we talk about tonight.
Yeah, and that's what's so exciting this year is out in all of those markets, all of those states that I just counted off, that we have Sip of Sunshine, Super Session, Little Sip, and now these specialty releases coming from our Waitsfield Brewery, which we're dropping to the fans. So it was so great to see people are so excited about Knockout Blonde that's coming out, and it's just really nice to be able to share what we're brewing here in Waitsfield all across those 9 states. I have a question about the Cashmere hop for you, Sean.
Sure.
Is this a newer hop or an older hop when we were talking about the hip hop?
This is a newer hop as well, and Comet is actually an older C hop that's come back into favor in recent years with brewers. So it's been around for a little while, but it's really fallen into favor recently, that Comet hop. So, and Cashmere
is a new one.
Cashmere is a newer hop variety.
Yeah.
Yeah. So shall we share some fun stories about our
Yes.
company history. Tell them all about the love story,
Yes.
where it all started. So we're going to share some imagery with you from a really fun scrapbook that our friend Kimmy put together. Yes, I turned 50 last year, and no, there was no big birthday party thanks to the pandemic. But someday we'll get back to that.
And just to give a little history before the history was that Sean and I are celebrating 20 years married this coming August.
Yes, indeed.
And so our love history starts back there. And, Lawson's Finest started really just a couple years into our married life. And I'll put a pause and we can start some imagery and some fun storytelling. But while we do, cheers to everyone out there.
Cheers to everyone out there. And again, if you have questions, feel free to fire away in the comments section, and we'll get to those in a few minutes, and we'll round it out with some more questions at the end.
All right, guys, hang on just 1 second.
So we're going to start out in the beginning. I'm just going to give the prelude as Sam's pulling up the imagery for us. And the prelude is that Karen, bless her, did a wonderful job of curating history for Lawson's Finest, saving clippings from newspaper articles, artifacts, crumpled ribbons from my home brewing years that had been stored away in a box.
I learned from my mom, who had a Tupperware bin of all of our old report cards and everything we hand painted through the years. And so I took that very good lesson and brought it, because this is really our third child. Lawson's Finest is our third child. We have 2 beautiful daughters, and it has been a wild ride, and we were raising Lawson's Finest at the same time that we were raising 2 small kids.
That's where it all started. When we initially launched Lawson's Finest, our first daughter was just 3 years old, and even younger than that when the whole project started, because it took about 1.5 years of sweat equity, of having friends help us build a building next to the house up in Warren, and then me working on a business plan and getting licensed and finishing the building took quite some time, and then finally getting some equipment in there and getting up and running. That took about 2 years altogether. So our youngest daughter was she was only 1 years old when that all started in 2006. So what you're seeing right now are the humble beginnings of a home brewing history that brought Lawson's Finest to life. And
while you pull that up, I can tell a little backstory. Yeah. So because our kids, our one child at the time was so young, and Sean was brewing, nights, weekends, days, whenever it would fit in. There was this great Wanna Brew Club homebrew club. It was a group of maybe 6 to 8 guys. They'd get together once a week to homebrew, and the location always changed. Red Sox were always on the TV, triple play inspired. And, it was really the Wanna Brew Club that said to Sean, you should really make a go of this. People will buy your beer. Stop giving it out for free and start making it to sell it. And that Wanna Brew Club was instrumental.
Absolutely, some great friends, and we were brewing. We first called it the Monday Night Brew Club, and we were brewing on Monday nights, and we started, a good rhythm of brewing almost every week and sharing the beer with friends. And as I've said a number of times before, it all started in college for me, my home brewing efforts. But here in the Valley, such a great crew of guys, and our very own brand ambassador, Chuck Derrick, was a host to a number of homebrew gatherings at his place up in North Facein, and that really started to get us rolling on Lawson's Finest. So these are a few images of those early homebrew days. So next up is the Warren Brewery building and the equipment. And so this was the very humble beginnings of Lawson's Finest here. And you can read a little bit of the story on the left-hand side of the page. You can see the building down on the bottom left-hand side. And that was the building that my friends and I put together. Thank goodness that I had a couple of friends in the building trades that helped it all come together. That was actually a collection of projects over the years. The cooler on the left wasn't there right away. It got added over the years. And then over on the right is some really fun photos of our early farmers markets. Me brewing on what was really a glorified licensed home brewing operation. And what was it like in those early days, Karen?
Well, I will tell you what it was like was we had a carboy in every closet of the house. All the different recipes that you were trying out to then scale up in the brewery. And it was really interesting how to go from 1 barrel to 3 barrels to 7 barrels, how we completely maxed out every piece of wall space in that brewery, and even to this day where it's an active brewery. And by the way, our Warren Brewery also hosts our Airbnb. So that's the location of our original house. And so you can find it on Airbnb. And if we're there in the brewery while you're staying there as our guest, we're happy to open the door and let you see inside the brewery.
And this next page is a fun collection of the early years of selling Lawson's Finest. And it was a one-man and one-woman show in those days. And I would load up my car, the Prius that you can see there right in the middle, with a world record 43 kegs. They were empty.
Master packer.
I would have broke the suspension if they were all full. But I did manage to pack 43 5 and 3 gallon kegs into the Prius. I used to joke we were the only wholesale distributor in the country with a 100% hybrid electric delivery fleet, a fleet of one vehicle.
And what I love about these early days at the farmers market was we got to meet so many of you fans out there, and we talked to you so directly and personally, and I really value that time and seeing folks roll up with their cooler on wheels because they knew that our standards were you have to keep this beer cold. It's a hot summer day, you're at the farmers market, we need to know it's going to be taken care of. And really, that's the guerrilla marketing of our fans at the farmers market was instrumental, honestly, in our growth. And I still hold a very dear place in my heart for the farmers markets.
So moving on to the next image, this is all about some of our some fun moments.
Collaborations.
Some collaborations that we've got, Jeremy.
The award in the middle was really a special
Yeah.
award for us.
Yeah, that was my first appearance on the World Beer Cup stage with Charlie Papazian there. And can you tell I'm excited? Maybe a little bit.
I know that everyone was cheering for you in the audience. That's what I see in there.
Yeah, the awards that we received in the early years really helped propel Lawson's Finest to the next level in terms of gaining some publicity and gaining some street cred. So we really appreciate landing some of those awards. And as we kind of move forward in the short version of the history, I think maybe this is a good place to pause with some images of Lawson's Finest in the present and take a question or two from the audience and see what are you thinking out there. Let us know.
Yes.
You can ask more questions in the comments section, but we've got some questions already that we're going to work on answering right now.
What was the first beer you ever made?
Oh, I know that one pretty well because it was I've told this story many times, so please indulge me if you've heard this story before. So when I was a student at UVM, my friend Matt Robinson invited me over for homebrew. Heck yeah. And I tasted his homebrew. I was like, wow, this is better than anything you can make in the store. Can you show me how? And what do you know, 2 weeks later, we're cooking up my very first batch of homebrew, and it was a maple wheat ale inspired by the Vermont Pub and Brewery and some of the beers that Catamount Brewing made in my apartment in downtown Burlington at the end of Lafayette Place when I was a student at the University of Vermont. And it came out quite right. I knew I was on to something back then.
Another one.
Yes,
Yes,
please.
please.
I want to know if you're gonna have a belated or if you're gonna have a big birthday anniversary party.
Are we going to have an anniversary party?
I would
Well,
really love
yeah.
to, and really, Mother Nature is dictating the pandemic right now, and so we are just taking it 1 week at a time. I'm with you. I would love to host a celebration. I really miss being in this beautiful tap room with all of you, and
we miss seeing all of you in person.
I would love to have live music and celebrate, and so we will definitely keep you informed. You will be the first to know.
Yes, and as the weather gets warmer, we certainly plan to reopen the beer garden for outside service as spring moves along, and then we'll take guidance from the state of Vermont and public health officials as to when we'll reopen the tap room here inside for in person. But we'll definitely be back a little bit later this spring with our beer garden, and we look forward to planning events as the hopefully the pandemic winds down and we all get our shots and get to the other side. So we shall see, but we will keep you posted definitely. What else are you guys wondering out there?
They want to know. Someone wanted to know if you're ever going to release Super Session #1 again.
Oh, it's a good mystery. It's a good mystery. I'm not sure yet. Maybe?
Yes.
Yes. Karen says yes. Sean says maybe. That's how we roll. We shall see.
Any other questions, or should we?
That's all we have right now.
Okay, excellent.
We'll keep them coming because
keep
we
them
love
coming.
interacting with you out there.
Yeah, it's hard just talking to the camera. We miss having you here in person, so feel free to ask us questions, and we'll loop back on those in a few minutes. So while we pull back up the imagery from our scrapbook to bring you through the rest of the little love story that we have for you here, maybe we'll digress and tell them, how did we meet for the very first time, Karen?
Because inquiring minds want to know. We met on a full moon snowshoe at Mad River Glen ski area, where Sean still is the naturalist director in his spare time. And the irony was that we learned that night that Sean's uncle was the acting director of the master's program that I graduated from UVM, and I was lucky enough to graduate UVM, stay in Vermont, and find a decent paying job. And you know, I had a convertible and a dog, and I would just drive around, and I found the Mad River Valley. I loved it so much, and the rest is history.
Well, thanks for sharing the little story. It was really, I'm so glad I found you and you found me.
Thanks, honey.
So, and what a journey it's been. And we get to celebrate 20 years this year of marriage. So all started on a full moon snowshoe.
Great. So the last picture that we left off on for the scrapbook was really the most exciting
third child.
and brain-crunching chapter so far, which was building this beautiful tap room and our brewery right here in Waitsfield. And we always knew we wanted to create a destination for people to come to, because our original brewery in Warren was next to our house. So it was residential. Folks couldn't come by, even though a lot of you tried. And we really had such a vision for this tap room, and our vision literally played out in every way that we had hoped for. And you can see in the pictures, we demolished the building that was on this footprint, and we built up this amazing timber frame. And it's so welcoming, it's so warm, it's so beautiful. If you haven't been here yet, we highly encourage you to come to Waitsfield, Vermont.
Our drive-through is open now, and then, as we said before, the tap room will be back open as soon as possible. And what a labor of love. It was a place that we wanted to create from the beginning, but in the beginning it was just us, and it was a one-man show in the brewery, and I wasn't quite ready to hire employees and really take on a major project like this until we got almost 10 years into business. In about the 8th year was when we started thinking and planning for the tap room and the brewery here in Waitsfield. And what a phenomenal ride it's been since we opened in the fall of 2018.
And yes, so
Okay.
to speak a little bit
Yeah.
about our awards, so Sean just mentioned the drive-through retail store that we have open, and right now, if you're local or want to take a drive, we have a Maple Triple gift box for sale that is really, really special. It's our 2017 and 2019 Maple Triple bottles along with the specialty glass, and it's very special, and it will age very gracefully in your cool basement. So I know people really clamor for that Maple Triple, and we have a special box right here for you.
It's our most award-winning brew with 3 medals at the World Beer Cup, probably the most prestigious beer competition in the world. 1 medal at the Great American Beer Fest, and countless accolades from fans. And you can see some of the other awards on the screen right there, which is a great cue because we're moving very quickly through this half an hour to move to the triple play as we go through the last of the images. So if you happen to have a triple play, if you're here in Vermont or you've been through our drive-through in the past few days, wow, this beer has flown off the shelf in the last few days. And this was one of the first big awards that we won, and it was in 2011. Karen just pointed out that, wow, it's been 10 years already since this beer won the National IPA Championship back in 2011, an award that the Brewing News gives out through their competition. And now we're moving into some of the fun news clippings that we've got from Lawson's Finest history. And the road, what you're seeing right now is we were named after our first year in business here in Waitsfield with the new tap room, the Business Persons of the Year, which was really fun to get those accolades. We got feted at a dinner event and some really fun accolades. And then finally, of course, for the scrapbook, our amazing staff, because we've gone from just a mom and pop show to being a real organization and a company that's brought to life by the amazing people here at Lawson's Finest every single day, making the beer, delivering the beer, bringing the beer to the people through memorable experiences here at our tap room. And even the drive-through, we have really great interaction and exchanges with fans at the drive-through. We're still cooking up food here, and it's just incredible how much this company has grown and succeeded over the years. But now it's really thanks to a whole host and a team of people that you'll see in a couple of photos that we have here. It started, there's one of them has some fun snapshots of our one of our first Zoom virtual happy hours at the beginning of the pandemic, and just some fun memorabilia and a collection of photos from our scrapbook. So
There's a great picture where last winter, pre-pandemic, we had a staff retreat, and the front half of the day was all business and the second half of the day was all fun, because there has to be fun when you're with Lawson's Finest. And we rented this school bus out, and one of the photos that you saw was all of our staff with mom and pop in the front seat, everyone else, all of the shenanigans going on at the back of the bus. And we had such a blast, and we went bowling, and we were dancing, and our staff really are our Lawson's Finest family, and we're so blessed that so many of our staff have been with us from when we opened in October of 2018, and that is so meaningful. And I just want to say thank you to each of you that have donated to our Sunshine Fund when you've come here to Waitsfield, whether it was in the tap room when we were open or through the drive-through now, where we accept donations for nonprofits that we've identified to support primarily in the Mad River Valley and central Vermont. And I just want to say thank you for everything that you do to help support what we're trying to do for the vitality of our community. So, cheers.
cheers.
Triple Play IPA.
Yes, in our final moments here, Triple Play IPA, as I said before, got an award 10 years ago, so it's been in the Lawson's Finest stable for quite some time. Brewed with a trifecta of hops, so Citra, Simcoe, and Amarillo. A very nice light body, a really light golden color to it. It comes in at 7.0% alcohol. Little deceiving, as a few of our beers are, because it's
very easy drinking.
It's very easy drinking for 7%. And one of the things I really try to go for in all of our beers is balance, and a really kind of almost an exquisite balance. And this hits the mark there, and it's a fan favorite, as I mentioned. The cases have been flying out the door here in Waitsfield since we released this year's batch on Friday, and it's loaded with those tropical fruit characteristics that you get from Simcoe and Amarillo, with that tangerine rind, Citra featuring pineapple and grapefruit, and then Simcoe in the middle, adding a little sort of, just a hint of sort of dankness, a little bit of pine as well. And it's a beer that's one of my favorites. I'm glad it's back, and it's here for baseball season. A little play on words. It's not triple strength, it's just 3 hops.
Well, and we love to have fun with our packaging icons here. I mean, I really love what we did with the artwork on this one, with the pitcher throwing out 3 different hops off the mound, and a play on Fenway, which is very close to my heart. Grew up going to watch the Red Sox with my dad and eating the ice cream sundaes out of the red plastic hats. I'm really dating myself. They probably don't do that anymore, but such fond memories of Fenway, and all of our beer labels are so much fun. This has been a lot of fun, and the beer guy in the very back on the home run field.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with that label. So before we lose you, any more questions? Do we have
Yes.
questions from the fans out there?
Yeah, Mike wants to know, when did you realize that your brewery was among the best and you created something truly special?
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mike. When did we realize our brewery was among the best and we realized we had created something truly special? I can't pin one particular moment, but when we opened our new tap room and brewery here in Waitsfield, it was a pretty magical time, and we had a beautiful series of soft openings over the course of 2 weeks, where we invited in the community, industry members, local businesses, the Vermont brewing community, and friends and family. And if I didn't know already, I knew for sure then that we had created something pretty special. How would you answer that question, Karen?
I would definitely go back to the farmers markets days, and I say that because when we would speak to our customers that were waiting in line and hearing that people had left at 3 a.m. from Pennsylvania or Washington, D.C., specifically for that farmers market, and that was their first stop. They had booked a lodging for that night. They already knew where they were going to dinner. They planned the whole experience around coming to grab the maximum allotment of 22-ounce bombers that they could from us at the farmers market. I mean, we had some really great sharing of stories when we would come home from those farmers markets and just be wowed at how committed all of you are out there to us. So thank you.
Cheers to you. Thank you.
When will you be releasing any old favorites, like the Jade IPA, the Sticky?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Great question. Will we be releasing any old favorites like Jade IPA or Sticky? So thank you for reminding me about Sticky, and you can give us a shout out who asked that question. And so Jade IPA is definitely has to make a return appearance as well as the Ava IPA
Yes,
as
our
well.
daughter's names, Jade and Ava.
Named for our daughters. And Jade was named for the Pacific Jade hop. And Ava, because there's no Ava hop, we did another trifecta of hops, and that was Apollo, Ahatnum, I can't say the name of that hop right, and Vanguard. And so those were the 3 hops we used in the Ava IPA. So they will make a return appearance at some point in time. The Sticky was a barrel-aged version of the Maple Nipple in whiskey barrels, and I definitely think that needs to make it into the lineup. So
I really enjoy the Sticky.
you might have just
Yes.
added an addition to the 2022 barrel-aged lineup, because we have this year's lineup all finalized, and you can learn about it on our website, lawsonsfinest.com.
Debbie actually thinks that the Faced and Maple gets better over time. She's had some cans for a while and she likes them better every time.
Nice. Well, Debbie, I would agree that it is a beer that ages very nicely, and the barrel-aged versions of the Faced and Maple Imperial Stout age even more nicely with that extra layer of complexity that the barrel aging gives it. And I've saved some of the bottles, as a matter of fact, in honor of our actual 13th anniversary. I was up at Mad River Glen this past week skiing on a beautiful sunny day, and a friend of mine appeared with a 10-year-old bottle of Faced and Maple Imperial Stout. We were a little skeptical because we couldn't even get the cork out.
Oh, wow.
It was so dried. We had to take we had a corkscrew. The corkscrew would not pull it out, so we had to take a knife and some creativity to it, but we did get the beer out of the bottle, and it was mighty tasty. So it was amazing how well it held up over 10 years. Of course, it's dramatically different than it is when it's fresh, but it aged nicely in the cellar. So you got to keep it cool, keep it dark, and it will keep. Anything else our fans are wondering out there that we want to ask right now or answer?
Someone asked if you're going to be re-releasing Seared Palette.
Seared
I love
Palette
it. These
barley
are
wine.
some old school fans that we have.
Yes,
Someone just
thank
asked
you.
about Seared Palette. I mean,
Yes.
that is going back in chapters. So thank you for
Yeah.
your commitment to Lawson's Finest.
Another one to add to the barrel-aged
Yes.
queue, and I really appreciate you asking about that beer, because I thought that beer could be even so much better. That's another beer we broke out at our first taproom anniversary here. We had some like 9 or 10-year-old bottles, and that also held up well.
Yeah,
That's
good.
one that really got better over time. I thought it was dramatically better, even 2 or 3 years after we bottled it than when it was fresh. And we always wait to release bottles until the beer is ready, but there is the possibility with those very high alcohol beers that they get better over time. So thank you for bringing us back
Remind
to our
us,
old
what
favorites.
was the Seared Palette recipe?
It was a 13% ABV barley wine that went into barrels, some spirits barrels. I don't recall right off what the spirits barrels were for aging. It was actually just one barrel, because at that point I was
Right.
brewing 30 gallons at a time, one
Right.
barrel at a time. And an oak barrel is not a brewery barrel. It's like 53 gallons, whereas the brewery barrel is 31 gallons. So that's a throwback to the beginning.
love it.
Thank you. Well, I think we're probably past
Yes.
our time here, but if you have any more questions, we're still here. We're hanging on. If you want to ask anything else, we're happy to answer one more question this evening.
People want to know if you're going to make a wheat beer or a lighter beer.
Well, if you haven't tried our Scrag Mountain Pilsner, that is our lightest, crispest. It's an American Pilsner. Well, it's really inspired by a Czech Pilsner, and comes in at 4.5% alcohol. And we're going to be bringing that beer out for wider distribution across our territory this summer for an extended run from May through August. The Scrag Mountain Pilsner, both cans and hopefully some draft at places reopening for outside service, and restaurants that are back open and bars that are back open. And we'll also have a specialty to go along with it, which is our Scraggarita, baby. Salt and lime, Scrag Mountain Pilsner. So that's the lightest, refreshing beer that we have. And I find the Super Session that we tried a little while ago
Yes.
to be one of those really light
Yeah.
and nice ones.
And
And I'll
just one-
mention, the
Go ahead.
Scrag Mountain Pilsner comes in 12-ounce can, only 120 calories. And the Super Session is not far behind that. I think it's about 130 calories.
Nice. And Triple Play IPA, I find not to be a real hop forward, even though there's 3 different varieties of hops. I find it really a nice, light, easy drinking, because I know there's a lot of folks out there there's a lot of IPAs out there that some of them can really be super bitter on the front. And this one I find extremely well balanced for
you.
3 varieties of hops. Nice work.
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone
Cheers.
who's joined us tonight.
Yes, thank you for joining us this evening. A thrill to have you along. And we hope to see you next month when we'll be talking about
The Pink Boots Brew. So the Ladies of Lawson's Finest have our 2nd annual release of a brew of our own, where the Ladies of Lawson's Finest did everything from recipe to label creation, packaging, brewing, you name it. Was all done by the Ladies of Lawson's Finest in commemoration of International Women's Day, and a certain percentage of proceeds from each beer sale will go to Pink Boots Society, which is a national organization that looks to support and advocate for women in the brewing industry.
Yes, so stay tuned and thank you for joining us this evening.
Cheers.
Cheers.